is the main goal of O2N?
One of the main objectives is exactly that, to create a safe space for
Ah,
both and create, connect, and forgive.
so I don't know if this question was ever asked at one of the events, but I'm just curious, right? What about communities creating safe spaces in communities, especially where women are reluctant to take a stance for fear of retribution?
Mm-hmm. That is why I spoke to the issue that safe space concept is not unique to OPN. There are many different things and ways that this concept can be utilized, both from the level of community and into the level of government and so. But one of those ways, in terms of the community intervention, is something that our governments in particular and in the region would have to look at implementing from the local government perspective. And I'm going into my political realm here because the O2N way and the option of the whole concept is but a ripple it's but a drop in a ripple of an ocean of things, an ocean of societal ills and societal ailments that we can do. I am under no preconceived notion that this being a fix it and a be all and end all. It is just a drop in what can be done. But certainly the safe space concept can be replicated in our communities, it can be replicated in our schools, and there is room for it because many times when you have young people not knowing where to go for fertility, you have women, men in many situations of abuse or even situations where you feel that you just can't take anymore, you just need to breathe. We all face with those situations, but sometimes people do not know where to turn. There are no safe spaces. And many times, even if there are safe spaces, they are bogged down by bureaucratic red tape so that you don't feel comfortable in turning to those safe spaces. So that in addition to the space being safe, it must also be accessible and user friendly.
As you listen to women, what are you finding is common among what women want, not only from their government but mostly in general?
Well, I'm finding a very little difference between what women want and what men want because we're speaking to the issue of government. I think that what people want generally from a governmental perspective is governance and sound governance, regardless of which region you are, what country you live in. That is one of the most fundamental things, having a sound governance structure that looks at the greater good for all of those who are residents within whichever territory a resident is. So that issue of governance knows no gender. It is something that is universal and it's something that we all would like to see applied in whichever region or whichever territory that we reside in.
Nicole, no initiative as grand as O2N is without cost. How can people support your efforts?
But thus far, my efforts have been exactly that, my efforts.
Things about me that way, and I suppose you could put that as a weakness. I don't like to ask. I don't like to ask. If it is I'm going to do something, I am going to do it. And if it is of value and that it adds value to whatever, it adds value to society, it adds value to whatever, then have a chat with me and we'll discuss how we can partner to make it add more value. At this point in time, that yes, I will admit that is one of my shortcomings. I don't like to go cap in hand asking anybody for anything. That's just me. So that's why I have partners working with me, for example, in Guyana, where we recently returned from working with a fabulous woman called Sonia Noel and the Sonia Noel Foundation for the Creative Arts. I think if I've ever met an energizer bunny in the form of a human, it's certainly as I told her, she's a woman that moves mountains and who made a significant amount of work and effort in making the Guyana exploratory meetings and trips absolutely worthwhile. And so I'm so looking forward to meeting and linking up with more partners like Sonia Noel as the concept develops because we're looking at taking the concept. Of course, we're going back into Guyana on Saturday, 6th of March, where we'll host Ocean Guyana, which I'm very excited about. And then thereafter, we're coming back to Trinidad to develop a television feature on what we've done thus far. And then we're heading to Antigua, St. Lucia, and perhaps next year we're looking at outside of the region in New York. So that maybe
I guess you just answered Kim in the chat room's question. Will you take this to other countries in the region?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That is my goal between 2016 and 17 to have hit most of the territories within the region and to begin to explore extra regions.
And then Kim said again, like that you're empowering others. Tracy, love your passion.
Thank you.
What are your deepest concerns for women in Trinidad and Tobago?
Within Trinidad, you know, one of the things that I found, Calvin, is in every, I know you asked about Trinidad, baby, but I want to start with Guyana, because that's the same with you. Because I've just come back from Guyana. So one of the things that hit me like a brick, so to speak, is the level of suicidal rate in Guyana, which was alarming. And so that is one of the things that, and many when you read my every story, it tends to be linked many times to domestic situation. And even in Trinidad, and in Trinidad particularly, you find that many of those links kind of run through. You have similar threads of domestic scenarios of not knowing how to handle it, and again, not knowing how to access a safe space, and it's ending in some type of volatility or fatality. And so that is one of the areas that is a big concern to me. Another area that is a big concern to me in Trinidad, as it particularly relates to women, is understanding and being able to harness our power. And harnessing our power, meaning utilizing that power to ensure that a level of parity exists. But in ensuring that level of parity exists, that we do not lose our voice and our men as well. That yes, we must fight for parity. Yes, we must understand our power. We must not lose our voice and our men as well. I have a son, cousin, and if you were to ask my son, he would probably tell you that I am tough as nails, and sometimes it's difficult in terms of interacting with me and my not understanding, how sometimes it takes him a little bit long to understand his intrinsic power. And for me, sometimes that's a little bit difficult to understand. I suppose that's the parent side of me. But ever since he was a little baby, I would speak with him like he was an intelligent being. And then he grew understanding levels of conversation at a very high level. So that for me, that would be, if it is we go to look at issues related to Tobago, those become of the issues, understanding how do we achieve parity, how do we continue to achieve parity. We did achieve some significant victory in terms of parity from a governmental perspective when we had our first female prime minister. Many have asked, but how does that break down to the benefit of other women? One of the things I did, I wrote a paper recently when we were looking at the role of women in politics. And one of the things that I said in that paper is that we need to go beyond looking at the role of women in politics and looking at the number of women that participate in politics and change that to looking at the tenor of participation. Less of how many women participate and more of what are the roles that they participate in, are those leadership roles and so on. So those are some of the issues that tend to grab my attention.
You're such a busy person and so committed. For those times when it gets rough or turbulent and you seem in danger of losing your equilibrium, who or what is a typical exercise, mantra, prayer that you might use to get you back on track, Nicole?
I was blessed with living in a beautiful abode, and in that abode, I have many of my own safe spaces where I just retreat and disappear for a moment and talk to God. One of those spaces is a porch. I have a porch that has a great view, and it's absolutely serene. Sometimes you just sit there and you look out and say, wow. It's just so beautiful, this world that we live in. And those times that I just have a conversation with God. But, whatever. Somebody might see me and say, okay, she has gone crazy. But it's just do. I don't drink alcohol. I've never had alcohol. So that I will have a large glass of non-alcoholic wine and just be stirring it around and smelling it and do all the things that people who do drink wine would do. I do it. Enjoy my non-alcoholic wine and have a chat and just enjoy nature. And that sets me. I'm also very physical, so that I do a lot of exercise and I play tennis and a number of other things.
So you're fit.
Sorry?
You're quite fit.
I tried.
If you were to go to your favorite place to relax, favorite place, and with your favorite book or thing to read, your favorite drink, you just mentioned the non-alcoholic wine, and your favorite music, where will this place be? And I'm asking you this because I know you travel a lot. Where will this place be? What will you be reading? What will you be drinking? And what music will you be listening to? Mm.
That place would be on a boat down the island. It would be the island, we call it the just off one of our islands. And I'll be drinking non-alcoholic Sumanti. And I probably will be reading people or magazine. That's one of the things that I always have to do. I read when I'm studying and I have to catch the dance. And because of time, you know, I bought a Kindle actually. I bought two Kindles. That is something that I also have to get reconnected with. I'm always the other thing. So I'm lying on a boat down the island in Trinidad, off one of our islands. I am, what music I'm listening to?
Yes.
I love all types of music. So that any type of music, and I love to dance and I love to sing. So that music itself just feeds my soul. That is why you know what a fete is, right, Selwyn?
Sorry?
You know what a carnival fete is,
Oh,
right?
yes, I know what a fete is, yeah.
Right. So,
Oh, really?
In a carnival fete, if you were to see me, you would most definitely think, okay, well, she's drunk. I don't drink alcohol, but music gives me a natural high that is indescribable. I love music.
Wow. Well, since you've just come back from Guyana and you are visiting Guyana again in March with O2N, I am sure that Sonia Noel and others are going to introduce you to some of Guyana's wonderful spots. And the next time I ask you this question about your favorite place, I imagine it's going to be a place in Guyana.
Well, yes, I think kind of cool. Because I have it diarized. Because I told my son, we're all going to Guyana in March because we have to go to the Kaiser Falls. We have to go into the inner land. We have to go down the Esquibo. We have to do all.
Oh, you're in for a treat. You are in for a treat. Prepare yourself. You know, what are some positive experiences or positive transformations a community can experience when their women are provided safe spaces?
But women are the nucleus of any type of family, any family structure. So when you provide the nucleus of a familiar structure, the opportunity to operate at their optimum level, which is an opportunity provided for a safe space, then you're not only impacting on that nucleus for that woman, you're impacting on all of the various persons and things that particular nucleus impact upon. So therefore, there you have the respect. So you empower that nucleus then empowers her offspring, and her offspring then they have the respect that so that kind of thing that things that I have time, then
In 5 years' time, if you were to be sitting opposite me having another one of these conversations, telling me or celebrating the accomplishments of O2N, what do you believe we will be celebrating?
hoping that this is that thing. I'm hoping that it gets one of the things again. So that it becomes a global brand. So it becomes something that I spend most of my time going towards other people, sharing the word that is going to be explaining what I'm doing. And experiencing it something that is terrible experience. And so then, so in this book development, what I hope is what I hope and be
While you were in Guyana and talking about this O2N, the third time, what are you thinking? What is going through your mind? You're in Guyana now. You know, you had 2 events in Trinidad, and this thing is picking up, it's gathering steam. Now you're in Guyana. What are you thinking?
Dyer hosted a cocktail reception on the final night that season exam. And at that cocktail reception in October, I did not even have to ask one for women to volunteer to come out and share this story. Share the details about O2, and I spoke about some of the things that came out of it. And I had at least 7 women coming to me and say, I'm ready to share my story. I'm ready to share my story. So before we even did the event and the search for correct stories, we had so many to choose from.
You know, you are no stranger to charting new territories or entering into new arenas. But here's this idea that you had, and you give life to it, and you breathe into it, and here it is. Um, what is this? What does this say to you, or what would you use this example to say to young people, or a group of young people, about having an idea?
But what does it say to me is that, Nicole, you're on the right path. Because many times, Selwyn, I always do some self-talk and I ask good or above if I am on the right path. And sometimes I'll get very clear indications that I'm not. But this one, I have gotten absolute confirmation that I am on the right path. And as I said before, it's 5 years from now, we're having this conversation and I speak of the growth and development, global brand movement, and I know, this is what God has for me to do, this is my mission and this is what I need to be doing. In terms of a conversation with young persons, one of the things that I would share with them is don't be afraid to be who you are. You were created for a reason, and everybody is born with a light. And therefore, we should never allow anyone or any circumstance to hide that light.
Don't be afraid to be who you are. When have you been most satisfied in your life?
Many times. As we speak, I have, even though I've had so many experiences, up, down, middle, you name it, I have had it. In all of those experiences, as I don't want to sound cliche, and I don't want any other listeners to think, oh gosh, say that again. I'm saying it because I do this, and I'm saying it because I'm a testimony to understanding the power of God. I know it. I'm a testimony to that, and that is why every time I speak, I have to speak about it. Because it's not me. It's not what I have done. It's not what I have been. It's not where I am. It's about what God has done for me. What He has afforded me to do. What He has allowed me to life gifts that He has given me. And outcome of it. So therefore, I must always cognizant of that. And remember.
And what have you learned about yourself through the lifespan of your career? So far, I should say, because I believe next year I'm going to hear Nicole is on another trajectory, soaring above.
Oh yeah, there are many words. I have learned, and I continue to learn, that I have learned that I am still learning about me. If you understand what I'm saying, there's no full stop, and there's no comma. I have learned that I am continuing to learn about me. Because when I have stopped learning about me, and I have stopped learning about you, that is developing and that I need to understand, so that I continue to learn about who I am, what I am.
What are you most proud of? And how has motherhood changed you?
It has made me become increasingly more protective of many past aspects of my life. But it has also made me become, if possible, even more competitive.
More competitive.
Even more, if possible. But it is not about me, and it's about him, and it's about everything that I do now. In addition to being a testament to what God calls me to, about what do I need for him.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Girl, if you only knew what
What's next for O2N?
in Trinidad,
What a busy schedule. Last question. What makes you laugh out loud?
Laugh. I love to laugh. I love to do. I love to everything.
Nicole, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.